My father's gaze was locked on the rugged road ahead, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. I tracked them down, he said, his voice terrifyingly calm against the tense air in the vehicle. The three of them, two from the next village, one, right here in our town, the police chief's son. A chill shot down my spine. Our town was small, everyone connected. Touching the police chief's son meant turning against everything we knew. The truck didn't head toward any village. Instead, it pulled into a deserted brick factory on the outskirts of the city. Two other vehicles with official-looking plates were already there. Three men in plain clothes stood beside them, their expressions grim. They gave my dad a slight nod at their feet. Three teenagers, their heads hooded in black cloth and hands bound behind their backs, were curled up, making muffled sobs. Their expensive sneakers and brand-name jeans looked utterly out of place in the grimy surroundings. Dad pulled a thick roll of canvas from the car and handed it to me. Inside were 3 hunting knives. Choose one, he said, his eyes leaving no room for argument. A man needs to see, and a man needs to do. Today, you'll need to do both. My hands were shaking, my stomach churning. I looked at the 3 bound figures. They looked so young, just like any other kids. But then, the image of my mother lying broken in the bushes, her screams in the night, the light that had been stolen from her eyes, it all came flooding back. The fear began to be replaced by a cold, unfamiliar anger. My father didn't rush me, he just watched. The 3 silent men watched. The air was thick enough to choke on. I took a deep breath, my fingers brushing over the knives, before finally closing around one with a rough, grippy handle. The cold metal made me shiver, but it also, strangely, steadied my hand. My father gave a slight nod, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. He walked to the first boy and yanked off the hood. The face twisted in terror was indeed the police chief's son, the honor student who'd given speeches at school assemblies. Without a word, my father drew a military-style knife from his belt. With a precise, swift motion, he severed the tendons in the boy's ankles. A piercing scream echoed through the hollow factory. Watch closely, son. My father's voice was still steady. See how those who inflict pain handle it themselves. This isn't a celebration. This is a reckoning. He motioned to the next one. The second hood came off, revealing the face of a known troublemaker from the neighboring village. My father dealt with him the same way. Another scream. Then it was the third one's turn, the last one. My father left him for me. I walked over, my steps unsteady. I pulled off the hood. A boyish face, tears of pure despair streaking through the dirt. He was sobbing, begging incoherently. I raised the knife, my mind a blank slate. Rage, fear, disgust, and the heavy weight of this imposed justice's ward inside me. I heard my father's words, protect the women in your life. I saw my mother's violated body and spirit. The knife didn't fall. Instead, mimicking my father's efficiency, I used the tip to slice through the plastic zip ties binding the boy's wrists. He collapsed to the ground, weeping in disbelief. My father looked at me. His face showed no expression, no anger, no disappointment. The other men shifted slightly, but my father raised a hand to stop them. Clean this up, he said to them, his tone flat. Then he turned to me. Get in the truck. We left the brick factory behind, leaving the screams and the despair in the dust. We drove in silence. It wasn't until our house came into view in the distance, a warm light in the window where my mother was waiting, that he spoke again, his voice heavy with exhaustion. You chose your path, maybe. You are right. Revenge doesn't taste as sweet as you think. It doesn't change what has already happened. It just stains your soul. He didn't look at me. His eyes fixed on our little house. Protect her, he said softly, almost to himself. In your own way. Live, just live. In that moment, I understood. Some wounds can't be washed clean with blood. True strength isn't always about destruction. Sometimes, it is about carrying the hurt and moving forward anyway. My father and I, in our different ways, had both let something go that day, and held on to something else, something more fragile, more essential.